In a future where the digital and physical worlds collide, PrettyBadassFPS Crypto Wars thrusts you into an epic struggle for power, where the battlefield is everywhere, and the stakes couldn't be higher. As rival factions clash with cutting-edge weapons and cyber warfare, the line between ally and enemy blurs in a race to dominate the new world order. With every decision a potential turning point, and every alliance as volatile as the technology that drives them, the fate of civilization hangs in the balance. Step into the front lines of the ultimate conflict, where the only rule is that there are no rules, and losing is not an option. Will you stand and fight for a future worth believing in? Or will the forces of chaos tear it all apart? The war has begun. Choose your side. PrettyBadassFPS Crypto Wars, Series 1 Part 1 of 2. Contents. Prologue, The Dawn of the Crypto Wars. Chapter 1, Genesis of Conflict. Chapter 2, The Rise of Factions. Chapter 3, The Great Digital Exodus. Chapter 4, The Metaverse Wars. Chapter 5, Rebuilding the Shattered Metaverse. Chapter 6, The Architects of the Future. Chapter 7, Rise of the Sentinels. Chapter 8, Shadows of Control. Chapter 9, Project Dominion Unveiled. Chapter 10, The Aftermath of Dominion. Chapter 11, The War for the Metaverse. Chapter 12, The Legacy of the Freenet Alliance. Chapter 13, A New Threat Emerges. Chapter 14, Helios Ascending. Epilogue, The Future of Decentralization. Prologue, The Dawn of the Crypto Wars. By 2084, technological advancements have dramatically reshaped the fabric of daily life. At the heart of this transformation is the integration of blockchain technology into almost every aspect of existence. Blockchain, once a nascent technology confined to the financial sector, now forms the backbone of commerce, governance, and personal identity management. In this new reality, digital currencies have fully replaced traditional forms of money. Physical cash, once a common element of daily transactions, has become a relic of the past. Governments no longer mint coins or print banknotes, as decentralized digital currencies like Ethereum, Solana, and custom tokens dominate global finance. Every financial transaction, from buying groceries to securing multi-million-dollar corporate deals, is conducted via secure blockchain protocols, with smart contracts executing automatically based on preset conditions. This shift towards a fully digital economy has fundamentally altered the way people interact with money. Personal finance, once a matter of bank accounts and credit cards, is now governed by private keys, digital wallets, and tokenized assets. The rise of decentralized finance, DeFi, has given individuals unprecedented control over their finances, enabling them to bypass traditional banking institutions. Peer-to-peer transactions, powered by trustless blockchain systems, are the norm. Credit scores are obsolete, replaced by on-chain reputation scores, and smart contracts govern everything from mortgage payments to insurance claims. But while blockchain has offered unprecedented security, transparency, and efficiency, it has also brought about new forms of vulnerability. Data breaches, once isolated incidents, have given way to systemic blockchain hacks that can collapse entire economies overnight. Additionally, the rise of quantum computing threatens to undermine the very encryption that blockchain relies on, sparking a race for quantum-resistant technologies. In the midst of this technological evolution, society itself has been reshaped. Traditional institutions, governments, banks, and corporations have been either subsumed into decentralized systems or eradicated altogether. The world is now divided between those who have embraced the new blockchain-driven order and those who have been left behind. And as power shifts into the hands of the technocratic elite, questions arise about the future of freedom, control, and governance in this decentralized world. Themes of power and control. The technological revolution has resulted in a seismic shift of power. In 2084, governments no longer wield the control they once did. Instead, power has consolidated in the hands of a few elite technologists and crypto barons who control the decentralized systems that now govern society. Figures like Baroness Satoshi and Count Nakamura, once innovators on the fringes of society, now hold dominion over entire digital empires. The transition from traditional nation-state governance to technocratic oligarchies has had profound implications for personal freedom. On the surface, blockchain technology has empowered individuals by giving them greater control over their own data, finances, and identities. People are no longer at the mercy of centralized institutions to validate their existence or authorize transactions. In a decentralized world, individuals are sovereign over their own digital lives. However, this newfound freedom comes at a cost. While governments may no longer hold sway, the tech moguls who run blockchain infrastructures have assumed a new kind of control. These elites determine the rules of engagement for decentralized systems, controlling access to services, shaping economic policies through blockchain protocols, and even deciding the future direction of human evolution via technological advancements. As this power shift unfolds, tensions rise. Discontent simmers among the general populace, many of whom feel disempowered in a world where technology dictates their every move. The technocratic elite, once seen as liberators from government overreach, are now viewed as the new oppressors. Their influence over blockchain systems makes them more powerful than any government in history, and their ability to manipulate decentralized technologies puts them beyond accountability. As power consolidates in the hands of these few, resistance movements begin to take shape. Autonomous decentralized organizations, DAOs, rise in opposition to the crypto barons, advocating for a return to true decentralization, free from the influence of corporate interests. The clash between these factions sets the stage for the coming crypto wars, as the very nature of freedom, control, and governance becomes the central conflict of this new era. Collapse of traditional governments. The collapse of traditional governments did not happen overnight. It was a slow, inevitable decline, marked by a series of economic crises, political corruption, and widespread public disillusionment. As blockchain technologies and decentralized systems gained traction, governments struggled to maintain control over their economies and citizens. One of the key events leading to the downfall of governments was the global economic collapse of the 2060s. Hyperinflation, fueled by reckless fiscal policies and mismanagement of resources, ravaged the world's largest economies. In response, people turned to decentralized digital currencies as a means of preserving their wealth. As trust in fiat currency eroded, governments lost their ability to control monetary policy, leading to widespread financial chaos. Public protests erupted worldwide, with citizens demanding an end to the corruption and incompetence that had led to the economic collapse. However, traditional governments proved incapable of addressing the root causes of the crisis. Instead, they resorted to authoritarian measures, attempting to crack down on the use of digital currencies and decentralized systems. These efforts only fueled further discontent, as people saw governments as obstacles to their financial freedom and survival. Disillusionment spread rapidly. In the face of governmental failure, many citizens turned to decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, as an alternative means of governance. DAOs, run by smart contracts and decentralized voting systems, offered a more transparent and democratic form of governance, untainted by the corruption of traditional political systems. These organizations quickly gained popularity, providing services that governments could no longer deliver, such as social security, healthcare, and public infrastructure. Personal stories of ordinary citizens illustrate the impact of this societal collapse. Families who had once relied on government welfare programs found themselves turning to DAOs for basic necessities. Small businesses, devastated by hyperinflation and the collapse of traditional banks, sought refuge in decentralized financial systems. The world was rapidly decentralizing, and in the process, traditional governments were rendered obsolete. Emergence of the crypto barons. Amidst the collapse of traditional institutions, a new class of rulers emerged, the crypto barons. These were the visionaries and technologists who had built the decentralized systems that now governed the world. Chief among them were figures like Baroness Satoshi and Count Nakamura, whose backgrounds and motivations would shape the course of the crypto wars. Baroness Satoshi, a brilliant cryptographer, had long championed the power of decentralization. Born into a world dominated by corrupt governments and centralized control, she saw blockchain as the ultimate tool for empowering individuals and dismantling oppressive systems. Her early work on developing blockchain protocols earned her a loyal following, and as governments collapsed, she rose to power as the de facto leader of the Blocklords, a faction dedicated to preserving the ideals of decentralization and autonomy. Count Nakamura, on the other hand, was driven by a deep sense of personal vengeance. His family had been destroyed by the failures of centralized institutions, and he harbored a burning desire to see those institutions dismantled. Nakamura's expertise in decentralized finance allowed him to amass a fortune, which he used to build the Nexus Syndicate, a powerful network of decentralized financial services. Though aligned with the ideals of decentralization, Nakamura's goals were more pragmatic than ideological. He sought not only to liberate the world from centralized control but to dominate the emerging decentralized order. As these two figures rose to prominence, the stage was set for conflict. The crypto barons, though united in their desire to overthrow the old order, were deeply divided in their vision for the future. Baroness Satoshi's idealism clashed with Nakamura's ambition, and the factions they led would soon find themselves on opposite sides of a war that would reshape the world once again. Chapter 1, Genesis of Conflict. Origins of the war. The origins of the crypto wars can be traced to the rising societal unrest and the failure of centralized institutions to address the needs of the people. Autonomous decentralized organizations, DAOs, became a symbol of resistance, offering an alternative to the corrupt governments that had led the world into economic ruin. Characters like Lyra Saline and Axel Voss, initially disillusioned citizens, joined DAOs in search of a new system of governance. The clash between these emerging DAOs and the remnants of centralized governments was inevitable. As more people flocked to decentralized systems, governments attempted to reassert control by cracking down on digital currencies and imposing harsh regulations on blockchain networks. This only fueled the flames of rebellion, as DAOs mobilized their resources to resist government interference. The Crypto Wars officially began with the Genesis conflict, a battle fought over control of a critical blockchain server farm. This server farm, which housed the infrastructure for one of the largest decentralized financial networks, became the flashpoint for the first armed confrontation between government forces and DAO militias. Impact of hyperinflation. Hyperinflation during the 2060s had a devastating effect on the lives of ordinary citizens. People watched helplessly as their life savings evaporated overnight, their currencies rendered worthless by runaway inflation. The transition to digital currencies, while necessary for survival, was not easy for everyone. Families who had no experience with blockchain technology found themselves struggling to adapt to this new reality. The rise of digital currencies as a stable alternative to fiat money created a new financial divide. Those who were quick to adopt blockchain and decentralized finance thrived, while others were left behind, their assets tied to collapsing traditional currencies. Personal stories of affected families illustrate the desperation and upheaval caused by hyperinflation. Amidst this chaos, digital currencies became the lifeline for millions. Blockchain technology allowed for peer-to-peer transactions that bypassed traditional banks and government oversight, giving people a sense of control over their financial futures. However, the transition was not without its challenges, as early adopters of blockchain technology found themselves vulnerable to hacking, fraud, and government retaliation. The Crypto Uprising. The Crypto Uprising began as a series of protests against government attempts to crack down on digital currencies and blockchain networks. What started as peaceful demonstrations soon escalated into full-blown rebellion, as government forces used violent tactics to suppress dissent. Key activists, like Cassius Demon and Ava NYX, became symbols of the resistance, rallying people to the cause of decentralization. Government crackdowns only strengthened the resolve of the resistance. DAOs began organizing protests and sabotage operations, targeting government institutions and centralized banks. The uprising spread like wildfire, with blockchain networks providing the infrastructure for communication, coordination, and fundraising. As the resistance gained momentum, it became clear that this was not just a protest,